score. Wrexham 1, QPR 3, and obviously a huge disappointment after the win at Millwall. This looked like a chance to try and build on that. Instead, it wasn't. Although it was one of those. I mean, let's get the basics out of the way first. QPR were worth it. They deserved to win. I have no qualms about saying that at all. Having said that, I did think that we were, well, certainly in with a shout. We had very good spells in the game. And if we'd taken chances, we could have ended up with a few. It was a bit like those 5-5 draws we used to have at the start of seasons. And maybe there's some link there in terms of the way that we have to settle in at the start of a season with lots of new signings means that there are some teething pains. So, yeah, certainly not time to panic, yes, but disappointing, especially to see QPR hurt us like that at the end of the game, which makes you wonder, hang on, pardon me, or bless me, whichever the appropriate thing is when you sneeze in an empty room. Can anyone hear it when you sneeze in an empty room? Well, I suspect you could. I suspect that you'd hear that across the road. I wonder whether that diamond shape through the kitchen sink tactic, which has served us so very well, maybe in the Championship, teams are a bit too adept at counter-attacking on us and therefore made the end of the game feel a little bit uncomfortable at times when they broke on us and, of course, got that key third goal before we made that change, to be fair. Anyway, that's enough meandering from me. Let's look at what actually happened in the game. Danny Ward, of course, was out. Libby Kakache is injured as well. And so, apart from that, it was a pretty unchanged side with the new signings on the bench, plus Nathan Broadhead, which was good news, coming back from injury. And we started very well. First 20 minutes were ours. We put good pressure on QPR. We were getting good width. Longman was getting down the flank and delivering crosses in. And after 5 minutes, we could easily have gone ahead. A short corner, Matty James to O'Brien. He put the ball into the goal mouth where it was attacked by the keeper. Nadi punched it to the edge of the area and in doing so left his goal exposed when it fell for McLean. It was bouncing awkwardly for him, so he had to fight to keep on top of it, and he did that really well, hitting the ball into the ground but put it just wide of the right post. I mean, if he'd steered it about a yard to the left, it's a goal. There's no QPR player around who can do anything about it. So it was a real near miss. And we had another moment soon afterwards, Dobson with a great ball out to the left-hand side, picking out O'Brien. When he pulled it back in towards the edge of the area, lovely dummy by Kiefer Moore, and Longman running onto it in the right channel. Maybe I'd hit it first time, left foot, didn't, and that gave enough time for a block to come in. When the ball ricocheted back out, Matty James had a shooting chance, but he pulled it wide of the left post. But Wrexham were looking good. We were asking questions, putting pressure on QPR. Their defence looked a little bit uncomfortable when we were asking questions of them. Moore was winning lots of headers. Hardy was making some nice runs in behind and stretching them, and it all looked rather promising. But I've got to say, I feel Valéry Stéphane, the French manager appointed this summer, I think he's a very canny addition by QPR. He's got lots of positive league experience, and I think he got his selection right, and ultimately his overall strategy paid off. He picked Romain Burrell up front, Jamaican striker, who hasn't started yet this season for them in the league, who, when I saw that, I was slightly surprised, but I thought, okay, we've seen he's decent. He was good for Burton against us last season. And I assumed with Richard Kone such an integral part of their setup, it seemed to me, because against Charlton in their previous game, his hold-up play was outstanding. I assumed Kone would be the big man up front and Burrell would either work off him or play in the hole. Other way around. Burrell was up front, Kone was in the hole. It was really interesting to see how that operated. Kone did well facing the goal instead of back to goal. And Burrell was fast. And I think that's exactly what Stéphane was thinking. You know, if they can stretch our defence and expose Cody to the pace of Burrell, they might be in with a shout. And from the very start, Borough was their outball, breaking down the right channel, making all sorts of great runs, carrying the ball really well. The one criticism I'd have of him, because I'd say he was a decisive player in the match, was that if his final ball had been a bit better, I think QPR would have carved out a few more good chances. But as it was, he was giving us issues. And in the 19th minute, the game was starting to turn, and he nearly teed up an opportunity. A ball down the right-hand side by Dunn. McLean got there first, wanted to run it behind, I think, for a goal kick. Burrell was challenging behind him. McLean went down. Wasn't a foul. I don't think McLean's really asking for a foul, to be fair. And Burrell is right round the back of the defence. He pulls it back to Vale, who drives it in powerfully. Good parry by Okonkwo to push it away. But the momentum is massively of QPR now. The pace of Burrell is stretching us. They're getting in behind us round the sides. Vale was very good, I thought. You know, he's a good technical player on the right, but he's also big and a physical issue. Kone was clever in his movement. And there was also Saito, a Japanese theoretically left-sided player who just drifts everywhere. And he is so balanced. He's so skillful. He just loves ferreting around, looking for little gaps to pass the ball into, dribbling up people, winning free kicks. And they just started to cause us all sorts of problems. From a corner, the ball was swept in. Good punch by Okonkwo. But Morrison got up and won a header. Wrexham fans, I guess, more than the players were asking for a foul, but it wasn't. He got up, headed it downwards. Mbengwe managed to get a little bit of a touch to deflect it into the goalmouth. And Vale was there on his own and smashed it into the net. Disallowed for offside, having looked back at it correctly, absolutely correctly. But we were very vulnerable and open. I know you could argue we've done well to get out and play him offside, but I don't know if it was that so much as Vale managed to drift into the 6-yard box, and if his starting position had been a yard and a half further back, he'd have been still unmarked and would have scored. But yeah, it was starting to look a little bit dicey for us. Saito then with a lovely swerving run a minute later down the right channel, working a 1-2, getting the ball back in the right channel in the box now, and hitting a thunderous shot, a vicious strike towards the near post. Great save by Okonkwo to push this one away, because it was going at such pace it could easily have beaten him. But in the 33rd minute, with us struggling really to get the ball out and struggling to pass the ball around, we conceded, and it was a messy goal. It was disappointing. It starts with a long throw, which Burrell is able to take on his chest at the near post, which obviously isn't great. You don't want to make getting the ball into the danger area that easy. When he fed it back into the goalmouth, there was a heck of a scramble. It ends with the ball dropping loose, and Burrell's in a good position in the 6-yard box, attacks it in the goalmouth. Okonkwo does well, makes himself big, attacks the ball, and gets a block on Burrell's point-blank shot. But unfortunately for Wrexham, Conor Cody is right behind Burrell, and he has no chance to do anything. It hits Cody and ricochets into the net from about 3 yards out, and Wrexham are behind him. It could have got worse fairly soon afterwards. A sloppy pass by Dobson across his own penalty area, goes straight to Vale on the right. And when he pulls it back, Kone hits a vicious shot from the edge of the area. Great work by Doyle to lunge and block it. Should be said, Dobson was excellent apart from that one, he would admit, glaring error. Wrexham started to get some momentum going briefly as the half was coming to a close. Had a glorious chance 7 minutes before the break out of nothing. Cody, in his own half, playing the most fabulous through ball, splits the QPR defence wide open through the middle. Hardy is running on to it, one-on-one with the keeper, but he hooks it in and he can't quite get it on target. Big opportunity. And a couple of minutes later, we nearly open them up. We do open them up, but we can't quite apply the finishing touch. Good throw by Okonkwo. Sends Hardy away on the halfway line. He holds it up really well. Works in O'Brien, who feeds Moore in around the back of the defence, and Moore drills a great ball across the face of goal. Longman at the far post is coming in, and he just can't quite reach it in front of an open goal. However, the end of the half belongs to QPR, crucially. Firstly, Dunn feeding it down the right-hand side, Vale feeding it in, and Burrell with a clean hit, but he just pulls it a little bit and it flies wide of the post. But no question about the finishing. 4 minutes later, the final minute of the half, Saito again involved, feeding the ball forwards. Kone finds space between the lines, turns from 25 yards out, boom. Top right corner, hell of a finish. I mean, nobody's ever going to save that. It went like a rocket. A magnificent goal, and Wrexham suddenly find ourselves 2 goals down at half-time. We responded very well. I mean, clearly Phil Parkinson got amongst them and also reminded the players of the basic principles they were looking to apply during the break. And in the second half, play, Wrexham came out, getting a lot closer to QPR, looking a lot more aggressive and positive, and we essentially dominate the second half until the decisive moment, 15 minutes left in the game. But firstly, it's us missing chances. O'Brien plays a good ball in for Hardy. Hardy does really well left-hand side. He's got no support. So he holds it up on the edge of the area and doubles back on himself and hits a really good shot, which is shoveled away by the keeper, who just dives low down and manages to get both arms behind, almost like a volleyball shot, and punches it away to the flank. There's a chance at the other end. Varane teed up on the edge of the box, strikes it really well. There's left foot looking to curl it inside the left post. Good work at full stretch by Okonkwo to push it round the post for a corner. And when that corner comes in, we have a real moment of drama as we clear the ball. And Hardy up front does tremendously well, driving forwards. He's desperately looking for support. It doesn't come. It opens up for him to shoot on the end inside the box. He doesn't take that chance. He goes back onto his left rather than hit it with his right. And that just closes his options a bit. He does get a shot off from 6 yards out, but by then Mbengwe's recovered and gets the block and puts it behind for the corner. And from the corner, it's cleared, but Wrexham sweep it back in. Longman, the dangerous ball in. It's struck towards goal, and Mbengwe clears it from under the bar, and it ricochets out, hits McLean, who is unsighted, can't do anything about it, and just ricochets just wide. The keeper's got no chance. That's just luck, really. Bit unfortunate, maybe. The Cody one, he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, and this one again, ball hits a player before they can react, nearly goes in. 61 minutes though, and we still haven't got a goal back, and so Phil Parkinson doesn't hesitate. He makes a triple change to try and change things up. McLean comes off, Ryan Barnett comes on, and that means that Longman goes to the left side, so we've now got 2 wing-backs really pushing high at the pitch at the same time. Ben Sheaf repeats Matty James to make his debut. And then also Hardy comes off and Sam Smith comes on, and we continue to look energetic and dangerous. It's a corner next, a couple of minutes after the change, swept into the goal mouth. Weird moment from Darley, the keeper, who goes down, I think, hoping for a foul. It's not a foul. The ball's swept into the goal mouth from the corner and he just goes down. It comes back out again. Cleworth turns and hits it pretty well. And I must be honest, at first glance, I thought the keeper's lucky. He's not really got up properly and the shot's too close to him. Looking at it again, actually, it's a good reaction. Having gone down and trying to con the ref for a moment, he does get up. The shot's coming in already, and he does get across well to his right to push it round the post. But the Wrexham are really starting to put the pressure on, and the breakthrough comes in the 67th minute. All these opportunities you've carved out and missed, and then this one's simple but quality. Lovely ball in from a corner by O'Brien to the near post. Moore runs across his marker, great deft header across the keeper, and puts the ball inside the far post. Moore scoring for his 4th game in a row for Wrexham. First place is that since Paul Mullin. And the 5th goal in a row counting Wales, which means this is the first time he scored 5 in a row, in 5 games in a row in his career. So Wrexham are now 2-1 down, pushing hard, and at this point I've got to say, I'm sitting there thinking logic says we're getting something out of this now. We've dominated the second half. QPR aren't really getting all that much up to Burrell, and Kone, and we're causing issues. Moore with a lovely flick sends Smith down the left side of the box. He goes down under pressure from Mbengwe and wants a penalty. I think the ref's right to say no. Then there's a big moment where Dobson does brilliantly on the right, beats his man, stands up across to the far post. Longman's attacking it. The keeper's struggling to get back across. Longman meets it about 3 yards out, puts it on target. He's outside the far post, but a defender, Dunn, manages to get across and does brilliantly to clear it off the line. The keeper's got no chance to do anything about it. It's really looking like the equaliser's coming, and then out of the blue we let in an absolute sucker punch. A minute after Longman is so close to scoring, Dunn knocks a long ball through the middle and our centre-backs are too stretched. Cody's exposed to the pace of Burrell, but to be fair to Cody, I mean, there's nobody really near him. I say, to be fair to him, the whole centre defensive line, I guess, got to look at that and their distances. Burrell tears through the middle. There's an unfortunate moment from Wrexham's point of view in that he actually gets a bit of a heavy touch on it, and probably if Okonkwo committed to coming off his line, you'd have beaten him to it, but Okonkwo by this point has seen that Burrell's coming through the middle one-on-one and he's backing off into his one-on-one position. He then sees that heavy touch starts to come, but his momentum's backwards. It's too late by then, and Burrell dinks it over him deliciously. And we struggle to get the rhythm going for a bit, so Phil Parkinson, as I said earlier, tries the kitchen sink approach. Broadhead comes on, Cody goes off, Broadhead drifts around nicely behind the two strikers at the point of the diamond. There is then a huge moment with 5 minutes left, and this is where we look a bit bedraggled as we're taking risks. A huge moment for QPR. Could easily have gone 4-1 up, which would have really hurt Wrexham. It's Varane, again using the pace of Burrell. He's tearing through the middle, clear. Okonkwo this time, maybe thinking of the goal, does come out, but he's not going to get there, and he makes Burrell's mind up for him. Burrell lifts it beautifully over him. Kone has kept up with Burrell, and he wheels away celebrating the goal, but it hits the inside of the post and bounces straight back out to Okonkwo. Phew. And then comes a crazy conclusion to the game where we just keep taking risks, keep charging forwards, and actually carve out a few good chances. A minute after that, there's an absolutely mad scramble in the goal mouth. There's a wonderful tackle by Sheaf to start the move, and then he drives forwards, plays a great ball to the right. Barnett beats his man, dinks the ball in. As a Longman's header or effort is saved ultimately after lots of scrambling around in the box. A huge tackle by Mbengwe, denying Wrexham, Dobson, an opportunity to knock it in from close range as well. It was just desperate, but somehow Wrexham couldn't force the ball in. A minute later, threat once more. Moore helping Dobson in a right channel, gets a touch right, and he's one-on-one with the keeper, but he doesn't get the touch right and it bounces away from him. And almost instantly, there's more threat when Barnett on the right whips a great ball in. Free header for Smith 6 yards out. He looks to give the keeper no chance and head it back across him, but puts too much on it and puts it wide. And maybe at that range, just hit the target. As if I can tell Smith how to score goals. But yeah, it doesn't go in. That was with 2 minutes left, and it would have guaranteed some fun and games, or there were 5 minutes added on at the end. Equally, an instant in the 90th minute would have guaranteed some fun and games, because Doyle pings a terrific ball across the pitch to Barnett on the right-hand side. He runs at Mbengwe, and as he gets into the box, Mbengwe just hurls himself at him, takes his legs from under him. It's a clear foul. Ref gives it. He and the linesman look at each other for a bit, asking each other, obviously, was that in the box or not? Neither of them know, obviously, so they give it outside the box. Well, looking back on the replays, it's in the box. It's about a foot inside the box. Wrexham incredibly unfortunate there. I've got to say, fortunate, though, is Mbengwe, who doesn't get any card for a really reckless challenge. I mean, it's definitely a yellow, because it's wild. It's out of control. It's possibly a red. Anyway, Wrexham aren't able to make anything of it. The free kick comes in, it's cleared. Longman outside the box does really well to feed a nice ball in with the outside of his foot, but Smith 6 yards out can't control his header properly. it's straight at the keeper. And soon afterwards, the final whistle blows and Wrexham have gone down to another home defeat. Disappointing, hugely disappointing. But you can still see good elements of what we're doing. And even though ultimately, like I said, QPR deserved it, we had enough chances to score more than 3 goals, quite frankly. So, yeah, it's a shame. But we are in a consolidation situation at the start of the season. I don't believe in going into a season looking to consolidate. I don't at all. But I think we have to at the start of this season, as so many new players get to know each other and with lots of injuries as well. But anyway, disappointment, but we move on. Norwich on Saturday is one to look forward to. With a final score of Wrexham 1, QPR 3, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.